What if everything you've been told about your brain is wrong? Right now, as you're watching this video, there's a second brain inside you making decisions about your mood, your health, and even who you'll fall in love with. And here's the shocking part. This brain isn't in your head. It's in your gut. Scientists have discovered that 95% of your body's happiness chemical isn't made in your brain at all. It's manufactured in your digestive system. Your stomach literally controls whether you wake up feeling hopeful or hopeless. In the next 15 minutes, I'm going to share 3 incredible true stories that will completely change how you think about your body, your emotions, and the mysterious power of your gut feelings. By the end of this video, you'll know exactly how to tap into this hidden intelligence that's been guiding you your entire life. Let's start with Sarah's story. It was a Tuesday evening in 2018. Sarah Chen sat across from her dream job interviewer at this upscale restaurant in San Francisco. Everything was perfect. Her resume, flawless. Her answers, sharp. The interviewer was clearly impressed. But then, something weird happened. As the waiter brought out the appetizers, Sarah suddenly felt wrong. Not sick, not nervous, just wrong. Her stomach twisted, but not from hunger or anxiety, from something deeper, something primal. And here's the crazy part. Against every logical thought screaming in her head, Sarah politely excused herself, walked out of that restaurant, and turned down what should have been the opportunity of a lifetime. 6 months later, that same company made headlines. Massive fraud scandal, toxic workplace culture, dozens of employees in therapy. Sarah's friends called her psychic. Her family called her crazy. But here's the thing. Sarah wasn't psychic, and she definitely wasn't crazy. She had simply listened to something that most of us ignore every single day. Her second brain. You see, Sarah's gut had detected chemical signals, micro-expressions, environmental cues that her conscious mind completely missed. Her enteric nervous system. This network of 500 million neurons lining her digestive tract had processed information and made a decision 350 milliseconds before her thinking brain even knew there was a choice to make. This is the story of the mind-gut connection. And by the end of this story, you'll never look at your gut feelings the same way again. Our story begins way back in 1899, with 2 British scientists, William Bayliss and Ernest Starling, hunched over a laboratory bench in London. They had just cut open a dog's intestine, expecting to find simple tubes for digestion. Instead, they discovered something that would revolutionize our understanding of human consciousness itself. The intestines were still moving, still responding, still making decisions, even when completely disconnected from the brain and spinal cord. What they had stumbled upon was the enteric nervous system. Literally, the brain in your belly. Fast forward to today. Dr. Emran Ameya, this world-renowned gastroenterologist at UCLA, has spent 3 decades mapping this hidden universe inside us. His research reveals something extraordinary. You don't have one brain. You have 2. Your head brain. 86 billion neurons focused on thinking, planning, reasoning. Your gut brain. 500 million neurons. That's more than the entire brain of a dog. Focused on feeling, intuiting, surviving. And here's the plot twist that changes everything. These 2 brains are in constant conversation through the longest nerve in your body, the vagus nerve. But it's not an equal conversation. 80% of the messages flow from your gut to your brain, not the other way around. Your belly is literally telling your head how to think. Let me tell you about Marcus, a 34-year-old software engineer from Austin, Texas. For 2 years, Marcus battled what doctors called treatment-resistant depression. Antidepressant after antidepressant failed him. Therapy helped, but that dark cloud, it never fully lifted. Then, almost by accident, Marcus developed severe food poisoning. For a week, he couldn't keep anything down except bone broth and crackers. He expected to feel worse. Instead, for the first time in years, the fog in his mind began to clear. Marcus had unknowingly stumbled upon one of neuroscience's most shocking discoveries. 95% of your body's serotonin, that crucial happiness chemical, isn't made in your brain at all. It's manufactured in your gut. Think about that for a moment. The neurotransmitter that determines whether you wake up feeling hopeful or hopeless, energized or exhausted, confident or anxious. It's being produced by the same system that digests your breakfast. This is why antidepressants often cause stomach problems. This is why people with gut diseases frequently develop depression. This is why what you eat doesn't just affect your waistline. It literally rewrites your emotional reality. Marcus's food poisoning had reset his gut bacteria, allowing his intestinal serotonin factories to function properly for the first time in years. But the most incredible chapter of this story begins before you take your first breath. Picture this. You're in the womb, around week 20 of development, while your mother is deciding between chocolate or vanilla ice cream. Something extraordinary is happening inside you. Your gut and brain are literally being wired together. The same cells that will become your enteric nervous system are also forming your central nervous system. They're twins, developing side by side, connected from the very beginning. And here's where it gets personal and a little unsettling. Dr. Meyer's research shows that how you entered this world literally shaped your personality. If you were born via C-section, you missed out on your mother's vaginal bacteria, the first colonizers of your gut ecosystem. Studies show these children are more likely to develop anxiety, allergies, and autoimmune diseases. If your mother was stressed during pregnancy, maybe working long hours, going through a divorce, dealing with financial pressure, stress hormones crossed the placenta and programmed your gut-brain axis for hypervigilance. This isn't about blame, it's about understanding. Your gut-brain connection was shaped by forces beyond anyone's control. But here's the hopeful plot twist. It can be rewired. Let me tell you about the Great Hijacking of 1952. No, not a bank robbery or political coup. Something far more insidious and far more personal. That's the year processed food manufacturers discovered they could hack your gut-brain connection for profit. Here's how it works. Inside your gut live trillions of bacteria, your microbiome. Think of them as tiny, invisible roommates who help digest your food, produce vitamins, and send chemical messages to your brain. Some of these bacteria are your allies. They produce compounds that keep you calm, focused, satisfied. Others? Well, others have a different agenda. The harmful bacteria feed on sugar, artificial ingredients, processed foods, and when they're well fed, they multiply rapidly. But here's the sinister part. They can literally control your cravings. These bacteria produce chemicals that travel through your vagus nerve straight to your brain, triggering intense desires for the exact foods they need to survive. That 3 p.m. craving for chips, that midnight ice cream binge, that irresistible pull toward the drive-thru. It might not be your willpower failing. It might be bacterial mind control. Dr. Meyer calls this microbial manipulation. Your gut bacteria are essentially holding your brain hostage, demanding the foods that keep them thriving and you suffering. But once you understand the game, you can change the rules. Jennifer's story began on what should have been the happiest day of her life, her wedding day. But as she stood in her dress, looking perfect in every way, her stomach rebelled. Violent cramps, nausea, urgent trips to the bathroom. Wedding nerves, everyone said. It'll pass, they promised. It didn't pass. For the next 3 years, Jennifer lived with chronic digestive issues. Doctors called it IBS, irritable bowel syndrome. They gave her medications, dietary restrictions, endless advice. Nothing worked. Until Jennifer discovered she wasn't dealing with a stomach problem at all. She was dealing with a communication breakdown between her two brains. Here's what stress does to your gut-brain connection. When you're under pressure, work deadlines, relationship conflicts, financial worries, your brain triggers an ancient survival response. Blood flow diverts from your digestive system to your muscles. Your gut bacteria ecosystem shifts dramatically. The protective mucus lining your intestinal walls thins out. Undigested food particles begin leaking into your bloodstream. Your immune system, confused and alarmed, launches an attack, not just on the food particles, but on your own tissues. This triggers inflammation throughout your entire body. Your inflamed gut sends distress signals to your brain. Your brain interprets these signals as threats. It releases more stress hormones, which inflames your gut further, which sends more distress signals, which creates more stress. It's a vicious cycle that can trap you for years. But Jennifer discovered something remarkable. The same pathway that created the problem could be used to solve it. Jennifer's breakthrough came when she learned about Dr. Herbert Benson's research at Harvard Medical School. He discovered that certain techniques could activate what he called the relaxation response, essentially teaching your gut and brain to communicate in harmony again. Here's what Jennifer did, and what you can do too. First, she learned the power of the breath. Every time she felt her gut-brain connection spiraling into stress, she would place one hand on her chest, one on her belly, and breathe so that only the bottom hand moved. This simple act stimulates the vagus nerve, sending a message of safety from your gut to your brain. Second, she changed her relationship with food. Instead of eating while scrolling her phone or rushing between meetings, she began what Dr. Mayer calls mindful eating. She would sit down, eliminate distractions, take 3 deep breaths, and actually taste her food. This simple practice increased her digestive efficiency by 40% in just 2 weeks. Third, she discovered the power of fermented foods, nature's probiotics. Kimchi, sauerkraut, kefir, kombucha. These foods contain live bacteria that can literally reshape your gut ecosystem. But here's the surprising part. She also learned that movement was medicine. Not intense exercise that stressed her system further, but gentle, rhythmic activities like walking, yoga, dancing that massaged her internal organs and stimulated healthy gut bacteria. Within 6 weeks, Jennifer's symptoms began disappearing. Within 6 months, she had more energy, better sleep, and clearer thinking than she'd experienced in years. But the most remarkable change was her intuition. She began making better decisions in her career, relationships, life choices. She had learned to trust her gut again. This brings us to the most fascinating part of our story, the mystery of gut intelligence. In 1997, neuroscientist Antonio Damasio at the University of Iowa conducted an experiment that changed everything we thought we knew about decision-making. Participants played a card game designed to mimic real-life choices. There were 2 decks, one that led to big wins but bigger losses, and another that led to smaller wins but steady gains. Here's what blew everyone's minds. Participants began avoiding the risky deck after only 10 cards, but they couldn't explain why until they'd played 50 cards. Their guts knew the right choice 40 cards before their brains figured it out. Your gut brain processes information that your thinking brain completely misses. Micro-expressions, chemical signals, environmental cues, even electromagnetic fields. This is why you sometimes meet someone and instantly feel comfortable or uncomfortable, with no logical reason why. This is why certain places give you good or bad vibes before you consciously notice anything. This is why you might wake up from a dream with the solution to a problem you've been struggling with for weeks. Your gut isn't just digesting food. It's digesting experiences, relationships, environments, then sending you reports in the form of feelings, hunches, intuitions. The question is, are you listening? So here's my challenge to you. And it's the same challenge that transformed Sarah's career intuition, Marcus's mental health, Jennifer's physical symptoms, and thousands of others who've learned to harness their gut-brain connection. For the next 30 days, I want you to become a gut-brain detective. Week 1, the foundation. Start each meal with 3 deep breaths. Notice how different foods make you feel, not just physically, but emotionally and mentally. Keep a simple food mood journal. Week 2, the reset. Add 1 fermented food to your daily routine. It could be a small cup of kefir, a forkful of sauerkraut, or a glass of kombucha. Your gut bacteria will begin shifting within days. Week 3, the connection. Practice the 5-4-3-2-1 grounding technique whenever you feel stressed. Name 5 things you can see, 4 things you can touch, 3 things you can hear, 2 things you can smell, and 1 thing you can taste. This interrupts the stress gut spiral. Week 4, the integration. Here's the big one. Start trusting your gut on small decisions. Which route to take home, what to order at a restaurant, which person to talk to at a networking event. Notice what happens when you follow your gut feelings versus when you ignore them. By the end of these 30 days, you won't just feel better physically. You'll think more clearly, make better decisions, and trust yourself more deeply than you have in years. Because you'll have learned to listen to the wisdom that's been inside you all along. Remember Sarah from our opening story? The woman who walked away from her dream job because of a gut feeling? 6 months after that restaurant revelation, she started her own consulting company. Today, she helps other businesses build ethical, sustainable cultures. She makes 3 times what that corporate job would have paid, works with people she genuinely respects, and wakes up excited about her work every single day. Sarah didn't just dodge a bullet by trusting her gut. She discovered her calling. Your gut brain isn't just protecting you from what's wrong, it's guiding you toward what's right. In a world that teaches us to think our way through everything, maybe it's time to remember that we have 2 brains for a reason. Your head brain is brilliant at analyzing, planning, reasoning. But your gut brain? It's a master at knowing. The question isn't whether you should trust your gut. The question is, what amazing things become possible when you do? Your second brain has been waiting your entire life for you to listen. Maybe today is the day you finally hear what it's been trying to tell you. If this story resonated with you, there's so much more to discover in Dr. Emran Mayer's groundbreaking book, The Mind-Gut Connection. You'll find the link in the description below. I'm curious, what's the most powerful gut feeling you've ever had? Did you listen to it? What happened? Share your story in the comments. I read every single one, and your experience might be exactly what someone else needs to hear. And if you want more stories that bridge science and intuition, hit that subscribe button. Next week, I'll be sharing the incredible story of how your gut bacteria might be choosing your romantic partners. Trust me, it's wilder than you think. Until then, listen to your gut. It knows more than you realize, and keep listening. The Mind Gut Lab.